Welcome to another episode of Just Another G.I. Joe Show, episode number 35. This is pretty much going to be like, the final Joe-Con afterwards, what we thought, blah, 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 what happened, blah, blah, blah. Oh, my God, I can't believe that happened, blah, blah, blah. Fred is going to be out this week. He wants to spend some time with the fiance, I guess. And John is running a little bit late, and he should jump on a little bit later if he can. If not, we'll still talk about the other stuff and imagine what he would say and probably mock him just a little bit, just for shits and giggles. But I am super excited to actually get the full force on with us this time. Chris is a very interesting person, to say the least. I had such a great time hanging out for the little bit of time we did at JoeCon. He's a super nice guy. He has a great podcast as well. Chris, tell them a little bit about yourself, where they can find you at, and what you talk about in your podcast as well.
I want to hear you say nice things. I just want you to keep doing that.
You keep saying the nice things, getting your hopes all up, and then destroy you at the
end. Yeah, I'm Chris McLeod. I'm the CEO of the Full Force Podcast. Always repping the branding. We're kind of G.I. Joe and Action. Action Force is where we, that's where we come from. That's our kind of our bread and butter. But obviously, it's become a G.I. Joe show, really, because of the fact there's no Action Force product. Occasionally, obviously, the club kind of hooked us up with some amazing kind of homages to Action Force, and we had Larry Hama putting Red Shadows in the comics and all that kind of stuff. So obviously, we've kind of grown from being this Action Force show that was a spin-off of What's on Joe Mind originally. Shout out to Gary, Mike, Justin, Des, everyone involved. Joe, sorry. So I think that in terms of the podcast and stuff like that, we started off audio. Now we've started, and this is your fault, really, because I saw you guys do the video stuff, and I thought, we really have to be pushing the video stuff. The video content's really important. So we started getting into news bursts, comic bursts, spreading it out a little bit more, kind of rather than have like a 9-hour podcast, which is where it was going. We had a 9 hours something podcast on Visionaries, believe it or not. And yeah, I know. That was really thanks to the Mapes, Dave and Steve Mapes. Give them a shout out. Visionaries.net. Those guys are just like an encyclopedia of knowledge about, Transformers and Visionaries. We also followed that up with a 10-hour frigging podcast on the Transformers and all the crossovers with G.I. Joe and all that kind of stuff. So I thought to myself, we've got to cut this down. It has to be it has to be minimized somehow. So I took the news out of it, and we did those kind of like the important news bursts we do as a separate thing. So we record it quickly, we get it out there. I edit everything, so we try and make it sound professional and polished.
Not like us, we just shoot from the hip. And if it goes to hell in the handbasket, it goes to hell in the handbasket.
Live. This is new for me. This is weird. Like I feel like I'm editing myself as we're going now. I'm like, oh no, I'll cut that out. I'll cut that bit out. I'm like, no, I can't. This is live. So that's kind of how the podcast kind of grew and became what it is now. And I'm really trying to kind of get some people on there that knowledgeable of the brand, kind of industry players. We have Boss Fight on there quite often. We're actually speaking to Daryl the Priest tomorrow. We're talking to Robert Atkins tomorrow. Lots of people that we kind of. Bobby, obviously, he's been on your show numerous times. We kind of wanted to make it more. It's hard to say, kind of more legit. We just wanted to be a bit more legitimate. I kind of feel like we're getting there slowly. I'm sorry. I should mute or turn off. There we go. I'll turn off my Facebook because it's probably pinging in the background.
Okay, I was wondering what the hell. I was checking all of them. Like, is my pinging somewhere?
I'm a professional as well. I should know better. Professional. So we've been kind of like doing that, trying to make it a broader market, trying to kind of hit some different viewers and stuff and listeners, and it's been increasing and improving, and I feel really good about it, and I think now was a good time to kind of reach out to you guys. And I'm doing a thing with G.I. Joeberg on Thursday, so I kind of want to do more of this. I kind of want to bring the whole podcast not me. I know this is the thing that you and I talked about, Mike. I don't want to take full responsibility for this. I'm not saying that I am the bastion of all podcasts at all. I mean, as in, I felt like it was a good thing, and it was agreed upon by numerous others, that we kind of need to bring that community together rather than be like, not competitive with each other, because it's not really the case. We operate in kind of very different areas, which is great. Like it kind of fills lots of needs, which is fantastic. But I love the thought that we can kind of do this kind of crossover stuff every now and again, and you know, like utilize what's really good about all these different shows. And what I love about your show is this kind of just the live aspect, the kind of regularity aspect of it, the fact you know, you guys get Bobby on, and you get you know, Jay Russell on, and you know, you have these people that are kind of in the community, and in the industry, as it were. So yeah, I've kind of been really happy with how things are kind of progressing. In terms of the question you asked me, that I then went on for about an hour of talking crap. You can get us on, obviously, at the Full Force on Twitter. On Facebook, we are the Full Force Podcast. You can find us pretty much very easily. And other than that, I mean, we're on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher. We're on YouTube when obviously we do the video stuff. So we have news bursts and comic bursts, and now a Disorder of Battle, where Brian Hickey, and I'll shout out Brian Hickey and Paddy Lennon, who are also, you know, presenters on the show, where we discuss old Action Force comics, so Battle Action Force. We kind of go into depth with them. We break them down. We look at the really cool things that happen in those episodes, in those issues. And yeah, it's been like that. That's been like a lot of fun for us, because we've been able to kind of look at that stuff that we loved as you know, when we were kids, and kind of like really rip it to pieces. But half the time it's just Brian and I going, "Oh, I love this so much. It's amazing." So yeah, it's not so much critical. It's more just heaping praise on things. But yeah, so yeah, that's us. Yeah, look for us, like us, subscribe to us, enjoy us.
See, that's one thing I always forget to say is like, subscribe. It makes me wonder why my subscriptions are so low. I never say subscribe.
Dude, I've had a YouTube review channel for like a couple of years now, and it kind of it went really quick up to 100 subscribers. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then it kind of just went 101, and then 3 months later 102. I'm just like, oh, come on.
Right, exactly. And after that long opening, Rick, where can people find you at?
I'm always on Twitter and Instagram a lot more now, especially this last 2 weeks. I'm trying to share more and not be so private. So yeah, you can find me, Shatterglass Jazz. I'm easy to find.
He used to be exclusively to Twitter till they pissed him off, so he went to Instagram after that. So now he's on both.
I found myself taking a lot more pictures, so I mean, it just made sense.
Yeah. I know that feeling. I take a lot of selfies. It's not even funny.
I actually do have some pictures I'm going to share later, a little bit embarrassing ones of us, Chris.
I told you not to give those out. They were specifically just for you. Lol.
We had too much fun. We're going to really... one thing I want to discuss, I guess, really about JoeCon. I don't think... Were you there Wednesday night, Chris?
I was there from Tuesday.
Okay, so you were there Tuesday, the same day I was. Okay, I got there Tuesday. We started, lines, started on Wednesday for different things. One thing I noticed throughout, this is only my 5th year going to JoeCon, was that the lines started ridiculously early for not just the lines for the club store or to get in. Yeah. They even started a line early for the food on Saturday night. Like they weren't going to get fed. I mean, what the hell? I didn't understand. The lines were insanely crazy this year. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, there's a couple of things with that, I think. One, the lines in general at JoeCon have always been really ridiculous. But at the same time, it's fun because you get to hang out with people in line and chat. Exactly. So the time goes pretty fast. But I think people have got into that, like year after year, it got bigger and bigger. That you started getting people getting there earlier and earlier. And obviously, because this is the last JoeCon, I just figured that people were just panicking and going, there's going to be so many people here. I'm not going to be able to get to the front of the queue. I'm not going to be able to get the parachute drop. I'm not going to be able to get this. I need to get all the exclusives. And what it turned out to be was they saw like probably record numbers, I think.
Yeah.
And on top of that, everybody got hold of everything they wanted. So
yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you didn't get an exclusive, I mean, them things were good until Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, not too unheard of for JoeCon, but I mean, they had like 40 each of the Saul, the Rock Vipers, and the 2-packs is what they had left closing out Saturday.
I think they were well prepared for it. It seemed like they were well prepared for it because it's not that the toys were bad. I think the toys this year were like fantastic. Fantastic.
Unless there were some quality control issues on yours.
Yeah, the only thing I had that bothered the mustache. That was the only thing that bothered me at all. Just the mustache. And I got my paint pen in today, so that's over with.
Chris,
yeah, I mean, I took care.
The no mustache.
That cost me. I know they're going to fix it, but it only cost me $3.95 to fix it, and it took 2 minutes. So I honestly can't complain about anything quality control on my figures. I finished opening up everything yesterday.
I had shipped everybody's out that I bought for, and then I opened up mine, and one of my Saul Vipers was missing a hand.
Oh no!
Darn it.
So he's in the back of the lineup, and I reached out to the club, and she said it'd be a couple weeks before they got to the stuff from the info booth. She says she can find one, she'll send it to me. Usually they don't do stuff like that. They're usually like once you leave, it's over with.
Yeah.
But something for that simple, you know, like
sounds simple. Yeah.
There was one guy, Duff Man. He posted where he got 2 of the same figure in his 3-pack Renegades.
Really?
Yeah, he was missing Mercer, I think was one he was missing.
Oh, that's like the one you don't want to miss. I love Mercer.
So I ended up just swapping him out. I had an extra set. It wasn't that big of a deal to me.
That's
so,
cool.
Chris, was all your stuff okay, kosher, or what?
Yeah, the other than obviously the cash and all the pupils on the laser vipers, I I did that little kind of run through pretty much the night we got everything. I did like a live review. So I got Pat Stewart, another shout out to one of our presenters. We kind of like went through that together, and like I was just like, just make sure everything's like sorted. And everything was great. Like I've had issues in the past with some quality control stuff, so I've tended to like almost check it immediately, go down to the information thing like the next day, and then just swap it out. I mean, I had like it was minimal once. It was like a lab rat kind of issue. I think one of his arms was messed up. It might have been paint issue, and they're really cool. I mean, they'll switch stuff out for you, which is fantastic. But like in terms of the set itself, just coming back to what Rick said, I actually really thought the figures looked great in hand compared to like where we've been seeing, you know, the Photoshop stuff. And when the reveals happened, there was a lot of kind of, I don't know, there was a bit of negativity. I think one because Sergeant Slaughter wasn't involved in it, which, you know, there's a reason for that. Yeah. There was a lot of other issues, obviously the hardball being the Marauders deco and all that kind of stuff. But other than a few of the obvious things like Mutt's hips, which again, you can't do anything about that unless they rebuild, you know, the figure. But is it really worth doing that in this particular instance? Yes, probably. But I would say that Footloose, I think, is just the perfect action figure. I love him. I love the first version of him. He was the first Collectors Club membership incentive I ever had. That was when I jumped on the actual G.I. Joe Club. So getting that in like that was my first figure. That's the first picture I took on Instagram. So Rick, first image on Instagram, mate. And now this is the figure that I finish with. You know, I get him in his Marauders gear. So I'm stoked about him. Spirit, I thought his head sculpt was fantastic in hand. Compared to what I saw on the mock-up, this head sculpt blows that out of the water. Like there was a lot of softness going on in that mock-up, but this is like it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
And again, like going through I'll go through quickly. Sorry, guys. Okay, so Sergeant Smasher, I was actually impressed with in hand. A few soft parts, like he's got soft arms and legs. I'm not sure if you've noticed that, but I suppose that's based on the figure they've utilized, the heavy duty one. The hat just does not want to stay on there. Like I put it on and it kind of flies off. It's like a rocket launcher, so it's like a nice homage to the rocket launchers. But, yeah, that you have to just get him in position and just drop it on there, and it's like Buckaroo, and hopefully it doesn't fly. I love the animals look great. Mutt, again, it's just the hips, and his mask kind of moves up and down like road. Like I let go of it, and he just goes like that. It's weird. Again, pretty okay with that. I've got issues with some of the eyes. Some of the eyes are they're all looking up, aren't they? And I find that a bit kind of off-putting sometimes.
The hardball, his eyes look like he's looking up a little bit.
Hardball, there's a few issues there with me, but I love how the arms work with the torso. I think I can get away with that as a hardball build, where it doesn't have like the zip going all the way down, which I was initially like, oh, I want that all the way down, but I think he looks great like that. The head is my issue because it doesn't sit right. He kind of sits like, in fact, you can probably see on here, guys. You can probably see on here on this little image here, but it kind of like he sits forward quite dramatically.
Let me grab mine real quick while you're talking.
And like because I mean, sometimes you can take the heads off and you can re-put them on about halfway on the ball, and they can still move and look good. And they lose that thing where they look down. Drives me mad, but I can't really get it comfortable with hardball. But other than that, I think it's a great set. The Python Patrol, I think the deco's amazing. I think the figures are fantastic. If it wasn't for the quality control issues, and the Laser Viper's helmet being like, you know, you just like you look at it and it can come off. You know, it's
that's just like how last year's set was, same way.
So I mean, other than that, I think they're fantastic. Like, yeah. So that's my overall review. So done.
Here, let me show you my hardball head.
I've seen your hardball before, Mike.
He still has like the little overlap, but this head, if you have an extra matte tracker head, I suggest using that.
Okay.
This here is actually the kit from J.E. Russell, which is the matte tracker head. He had Caleb painted up for me.
Brilliant.
Before we left, and then of course it has the better ball cap, like an actual baseball cap.
His hat is so much better.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
that if you could get even if you just get the hat, like that makes a big difference in how you feel about it when you're holding it in your hand. You know.
And then also on his grenade launcher, you can't see it too well, but it has stressed trying to put it in its hand. The plastic for the handle is very, very, very weak.
Yeah.
Compared to last year's set with the black weapons, where it's a little bit stronger. So I suggest using that if you have extra one.
Cool.
Because mine's about to break right off after putting it on just one time.
I hate seeing those stress marks appear. I just they
I'm always like super careful. Because once you've gone through that once and you're like, son of a. Then you're like you start to get like a lot more meticulously careful with your stuff.
When I was a kid, it depended on how tired I was. If I was really tired and like irritable, and I got a new figure, I'd be like trying to stuff the hand. Like, oh, I don't care. Thumb breaks, groin snaps off somehow magically. O-ring obliterates. I'm like, oh. But yeah, like if I was like you know focused, I'm like it would be like a laboratory setup. It'd be like crew there with all like you know mechanical arms trying to pry open the hand gently. So yeah, it's like a science being a G.I. Joe collector.
It is.
And then
plastic surgery.
Most of the other stuff I wasn't too. Upset about. The Laser Vipers, I'll get new heads, but it really doesn't matter because they'll be in there with their helmets on at all times. So, that's no big deal. The Major Blood was kind of an issue for me, I guess.
I think they look quite sexy with the different color pupils. Kind of like a weird kind of like, I don't know, like horror version. I like
kind of like a zombie version.
Yeah.
The brainwave scanner just completely 100% compliant now.
Exactly. And then you went to mine.
As far as the exclusives, like I said, I was missing a hand on Saw Viper, but then there's the big talk of was the snake armor supposed to be glued together or not? I've seen people post some pictures.
I've been wondering about that. I haven't talked to anybody. I haven't asked anybody.
Lanny told me, and he showed me, was that it was supposed to be glued together.
Yeah.
You take the inner part out and you ram that figure up in there, take all the web gear off, which I thought was too much of a hassle.
Yeah.
And the comic clearly showed them being robots. So I have both mine display as robots. So that's the way I'm going to leave them.
That's what I'm doing right now, for sure. You know, did you keep your tank, your Python tank that you got?
Yeah, did you sell yours?
No, absolutely. I displayed my tank in the background, and it.
Okay, me too.
I ordered some Python Patrol stickers today from Toy Hacks, which you should do because it'll make that tank even better. But I love that is it Roma Collectibles? Is that the name?
Yeah.
I love that they did that, and shout out to my wife for standing in line for
everybody
for hours.
For everybody, she stood in line for all of us.
It feels better because I didn't get any vehicles, and I love vehicles. I didn't get any vehicles, with the set, but that one feels like I did.
Yeah,
and it just looks good with blood in front of it, and the armor droids or whatever, battle armor on the sides. I'm digging it. I didn't really have any problems with it. My only nitpicks other than the stash was I thought the coloring on Smasher was like a little odd. I thought it could be a little more like brown or red mixed in. It came off looking a little weird, but that was my only like nitpick.
Yeah,
just the coloring was just a little bit off to me. But other than that, I love the Python Patrol stuff. I thought and the Paratroopers, I think they're probably my favorite. They're really nice, right?
Perfect, yeah.
The officer turned out great. The officer, I just looked really badass this year.
He's probably the best one. He really is. His paint, like, I brought one home for my 5-year-old, and when I gave it to him, I could tell, like, he went in the other room and he started having like a battle like immediately, and he has some favorites. But he put him like in the front, like next to Firefly, and I'm like, yeah, you like that figure if you put him next to Firefly because he digs him. But even I put him like up front because his paint that paint app on him is really good.
I just think in general that it's kind of a bit of a underrated paint deco now. Like obviously everyone kind of goes to that original Python Patrol, which is not really a deco as such. It's just what paint do we have?
Right.
Yes. Just throw it in there. Mustard, yeah, let's get in there.
Another cool thing that we were able to get. Oh, go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
I was going to say this is so much more uniform, isn't it? It's so much more like across the board. They all look like they're part of the team, and as gorgeous as that original lineup, because I love crazy colors. But as long as as gorgeous as that original lineup look, I do love the uniform aesthetic on these guys, and you could do that with any figure, and I'd probably be like, yeah, I love it. So
right,
yeah. Sorry, Mike, carry on.
No. And then the other thing that was really good this year.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. But anyways, if you did the customizing class and you completed the class, Chris, did you do the customizing class?
I did not, because I'm an idiot. Because I thought to myself, who needs a customizing class when you're as good at customizing as this guy?
Yeah.
And I was very wrong, because I'm not very good at customizing.
No, you're mine.
And lots of cool things happened, which you're going to tell us now.
Yeah, if you stayed, Hasbro and Bobby Valla, I don't think you got to see these very good, but they gave us these heads, these
Power Ranger, Mike.
Power Ranger, and
like, not anymore.
Yeah, Cobra Commander. Raw. But anyways, it was more the point of Hasbro gave everyone in the class a set of 8 different heads, multiple ones. There was a zombie Cobra Commander, zombie Storm Shadow. There was a what is there? There's just I don't know the names of all these heads. One here, I think it's Firefly with messed up face.
Messed up face.
Is that the technical term, mate?
I'd like to see that on the file card. Actually, with messed up face. I want that.
Well, what I really wanted to say, I can't say. So I'm going to use a logical term.
I got you.
But yeah, there were 118 or 119 of these sets made. You had to be part of the class, or they gave one away at the auction I saw. So I guess that's 119 there.
Yeah.
But they did have us sign a piece of paper saying we would not recast, sell, or give away to anyone to recast. But again, it was just 8 different heads. They're not even drilled out in the bottom to put on the figure. But that was a pretty cool thing that Hasbro gave us. These are all heads that were in the concept case that had never been used, I guess. And for them to give those away to us was actually a pretty cool gesture, I thought.
Yeah, Daryl and Bobby are spot on for doing that. That was really cool. In fact, we did an interview with Bobby yesterday. I'm putting this all into one big JoeCon debrief episode. That's why I'm dropping all these names like clang, 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 clang. But Bobby did explain how that came about and the kind of reasoning behind it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I won't spoil that.
Yeah, so we gotta go over there with the full force and watch it for ourselves.
Exactly. You're all gonna have to listen.
It's fine. We're gonna have to listen for an hour and 45 minutes, and at that hour and 50 mark is when Bobby Valley comes on.
I got a long commute, man. I got a 3-hour commute every day. It's how I stumbled on Full Force and G.I. Joe Berg.
No way.
I got yeah. Well, it's hour and a half in the morning, hour and a half in the afternoon. 3 hours total.
I thought you were about to tell me you do a 6-hour commute or something.
No,
that's crazy.
They work that job.
A lot of podcasts though.
Cool, man. But, you'll be getting a lot in the next couple of weeks because we've just been recording constantly since we got back.
And now another cool thing, maybe some people do know, maybe some people don't know, but Chris, you're actually married to a cosplayer that did I think she did 4 different cosplays this week.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, I do. I'm married. Yeah, Kate McLeod, and obviously because that's my surname. And she actually. I mean, it was amazing. Like on the lead up to JoeCon, she was just constantly working on cosplays and customs and all this kind of stuff. I mean, she's like the perfect wife, effectively. But she did Verona, which was again like a nice little call out to the club who just released her in the figure subscription service. Managed to get like the design printed on a T-shirt for her and on that shirt for her, so that the rest of it was obviously all her. But the rest of the time, I mean, she made like the most incredible Ninja Force Scarlet cosplay I've ever seen. Yep. Like, and again, that's all like all the armor and everything that's on that. It's all, one piece foam carved out. Like I've got pictures of her in the garage, just like covered in like dust from like, all of this work. It's like, it's impressive. Baroness, the Sunbow Baroness was again, mainly a lot of sewing. So she had these like pieces that kind of don't actually sew onto the shirt, but like attached to it. I mean, she's just an incredible human being. I'm not sure if your viewers or listeners, we probably share similar people in that regard, but she also did. I hate saying she's like in another room just around the corner. Kate did this amazing 12-inch Robo Skull from scratch, may I add. And it is one of the most incredible things I had ever seen, including the Red Wolf pilot to go with it. And it just, I mean, that was one of the reasons we ended up getting married. It was because of that. I love for action film and probably listening to the show. But no, that was, I fell on my feet. Let's just say it. I'm punching above my weight. I fell on my feet in this scenario. She's an incredible cosplayer, an amazing customizer. She did a Captain Planet custom last year at Disney, and it's amazing on a stand that she created as well. So it's very impressive, and yeah, she's amazing. So it was like four cosplays. It was Verona, Baroness Sunbow, Ninja Force Scarlet, and
Crystal Ball.
Thank you. Yeah. I always forget that one because I recognize her. I didn't recognize my own wife.
I didn't get a chance to hang out with. I'm sure we crossed paths at some point, but this was a huge JoeCon. Anybody you talk about the numbers, it was huge. But I didn't get a chance to hang out with Chris. But I did get my picture with your wife, which I didn't know she was your wife at the time.
How dare you?
We were my wife and I were talking about how like her costumes were just out of this world. We caught Crystal Ball and Ninja Force Scarlet.
Yeah.
So yeah, great job.
Well, she was so psyched to kind of get loads of pictures, like people kind of coming up to her and saying, like, just giving her really amazing compliments about the actual cosplay itself. She prides herself on it, and she, quite rightly, she is an incredible talent. It goes without saying. She knows what she's doing in that regard. Yeah, totally.
Eric on here on the chat, he says, Rick, from what I hear, your wife is a real MVP. Shout out to her and all those that brave the line so we can prance around like children.
Oh She definitely met a lot of people this weekend, and she was definitely she's a real trooper.
Yeah.
Also, Rick, sorry we didn't get a chance to chat, mate. You're right. It's nuts at JoeCon. Like any JoeCon, it doesn't have to be the last one ever. Any JoeCon is. I just feel like it's you go 10 feet and someone comes up to you and says, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And you got chatting away, and then you see someone else you haven't seen for a year, and someone else you haven't seen for a year, and it's so difficult to actually do anything because you want to speak to everyone and you want to talk to everyone, and it's wild.
I know that feeling because, man, I had so many people stop me who'd either seen me from the podcast or from the unofficial JoeCon page.
Yeah.
And I would literally have to look at their badge to know, because I'm like, I'm sorry. I mean, I just don't know all of these people.
Isn't it the worst?
It really is. And it started last year. Rick will vouch for it. We were on top of the, we were going to do the parachute drop, and someone came up to me and knew who I was or whatever. And that was, by that time, was like the third or fourth person that had come up to me while Rick was with me. And he's like, "Dude, you're like a rock star." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I don't know who half these people are, dude. I don't know how they remember me." So,
you are like a rock star. You were throwing TVs at your hotel window.
I was rocking that weekend.
I'm the worst at that stuff because I'm such a behind the scenes person. Other than doing these shows, and we do Cybercast and Galactic Gumbo too. Other than the shows, I'm very private. I'm very like behind the scenes. I do advertising, much like Fred. But I'm used to being the behind the scenes. So whenever anyone was like, "Are you Shattered Glass Jazz?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm just like really like.
It depends.
I'm a fairly shy person.
It depends. Are you going to serve me a subpoena or?
Right. Yeah.
Are you serving me a subpoena, or are you going to praise me for about 2 hours?
Right.
That's
exactly.
Dude, I'm going to give you a different answer. So yeah.
That community really, like, I felt like this, and I've been to a lot of cons, especially fun pub cons. I went to a lot of the bot cons.
Yeah.
But I felt like the community and just the network of people, especially like what we were saying at the top of the show with like all the YouTubers and podcasters and anybody at all, photographers, anybody who's creating content or like putting yourself out there or just sharing the hobby with other folks. I feel like this convention was putting that on display, and you could actually see it. And that's honestly, I think that was my favorite part of it, is because, I mean, you think about it, like we've got people coming from South Africa now. Just, I mean, like these guys are, we all share this common denominator, but we're all like fired up about it in a huge way, especially for something that really outside of comic books, there's like no media blitz for it. There's not even, barely any. So we're like the people creating the content, and it just, you could feel that this weekend more than I have at any other con.
What I find funny about the kind of community in general, and especially like with JoeCon, is how I think the American audience, like the people that grew up with G.I. Joe as kids and that have grown up with it, just had very little idea as to the spread of that particular brand across the world. The UK and Europe, obviously that was my domain. Well, the UK was my domain. I wasn't in Europe or anything. I'm not that, I wasn't all over the place. I wasn't getting around. But, you've got that kind of happening. You've got, and again, like that's numerous different countries with numerous different like branding and, different product coming through and European exclusives and stuff like that. And then South America, which would probably be the closest, like Canada and South America would be the ones where you guys knew that stuff was going on, maybe at the time, but definitely, if not, further along the line, you guys knew that was going on. But like, you just don't think, and I didn't really think much about it at the time. I just knew it was in the US and I liked it. I didn't realize it was reaching all the way to Australia, to South Africa, to, the middle of frigging, to India, to, you don't know that until all of a sudden, oh, what a fun school. Oh, wow. And then you start learning about that. So we've been kind of on like a little bit of a, I suppose, like kind of trying to get the word out in a way about just the UK aspect of it, just the UK and Europe aspect of it. And it was amazing to me how many people didn't really know what Action Force was. And that has been really eye-opening, because you just think, well, if you're a G.I. Joe fan, you know all of the stuff that's going on. But, you have to really immerse yourself in it and be part of the community and talk to people and be on Twitter and be on Facebook and do all of this stuff and research and research and research to actually get a tenth of the information together. It's mind-blowing, I think.
Mm-hmm. It is. It goes deep.
As far as panels, outside the final panel for Chris, the way he acted. But anyways, what was like your favorite panel? Someone had asked me, Skinny had asked me what our favorite panel was.
Rick, do you want to go first, mate?
It was definitely the Kirk Bazigian, what was it, the 95? I forget the title of it, 95 and Beyond, maybe?
Okay, yeah. The one, yeah.
I think that was it was the one that showed all the behind-the-scenes footage of the commercials. First of all, I saw Carson multiple times, and I've shouted his name on here before. He's been on before, but he did such a good job with that panel. Like everything. I don't know Carson that well, but I can tell you this: the guy's detail-oriented, and the things that he does, he should be doing. He was born to do it.
Great.
So anyway, I thought that panel was amazing because if you think about it, that was a long time ago. We all didn't have smartphones on us, and the cameras back then were huge. So the fact that Kirk had all that footage somewhere, especially, it is still a commercial. It wasn't like it was a movie set. It was a commercial. That's my world. I shoot commercials and write commercials. You don't always, nowadays you'll get some behind the scenes because there's social media and you want to push it to let people know. Back then, I don't think that was something that everybody was doing. So I felt like I was in a room of like this top secret thing. I know you can watch it now on 3D Joe's and other places, but I thought that was awesome that we got to see it for the first time. And even Kirk hadn't seen all of the footage or hadn't seen some of it since back then.
Yeah.
So that was easily my top panel.
It was amazing, like the whole plasmatox angle and all. Yeah, what I really loved about it was, is it Ren Roberts who's the Duke actor?
That sounds right. Yeah, Duke.
The guy was just like, even when it was like in the downtime in between like takes, he's all excited and he's like messing around with the guns and everything, and like you can see him like absolutely loving doing those stunts over and over and over again. He doesn't care that it's cold. He's loving that, and that was one of the things that I took away from it, was that like I'm aware that is not a glamorous thing, and people often talk about how that there's loads of waiting in like filming and TV and all that kind of stuff, but he was just absolutely loving it. I'm sure some of the other actors who were like in like all of the gear like that thing, were probably going, oh god, let it end, let this end, I want to go to see my family at Christmas.
Yeah,
it was incredible. You're right, that was a brilliant panel.
I think out of all the panels, that was literally, my personal opinion, hands down the best panel of the whole show up until the last panel, I guess you'd say.
Lol.
Can I ask you a question? Because I've been thinking about this since I was watching it. So obviously, that time period, you would doing that live action take on it. Back then, it would have been a little bit campy, but in today's world, it would be like a lot campy. But here's my question: did you enjoy it? Because I didn't care if it was campy or not. I was literally getting like chill bumps on my arms with how cool it was to see someone dressed up as Cobra Commander on film, and it was shot pretty well. I loved it. I loved it. But I was wondering, did anybody else, were people like, oh my god, it's so campy, ha ha ha, or were they like, this is kind of awesome?
Greg, you're asking me if I
right.
the campy. I think we'll all agree here that's my wheelhouse. No,
yeah.
At the time, I loved the commercials. I say the story on literally every single podcast I do, and I'm not afraid to do it again. Sorry, Mike. In 1989, my family went on holiday with me. It wasn't like Home Alone. Took me to the States, and I remember 89. Just the toy aisles were just unbelievable. It was Joe, wall-to-wall Joe figures, and they gave me like, I think it was like £100, which was like about it was over $150. It was a lot of money for spending money, right? So I'm like, okay, this is like heaven, effectively. And I filled a shopping cart in the first store we went into with G.I. Joe figures. And it was like the 89 lineup with a few of like the previous years still kind of dotted around. And it was the first time I saw Tiger Force, which was one of the most incredible marketing ploys just aimed at me. Like, it was like, oh, it's a different color. And if you turn it around, there's a little box of guys you can collect in different colors. But like at the time, you know, we would watch the TV there, and I fell in love with American TV. I loved managing to watch G.I. Joe, the cartoon, on syndication. And obviously we'd only had Action Force VHS tapes prior to that, but we'd have commercials on them. Not G.I. Joe ones. It would all be branded. It would all be Action Force stuff. I loved them. When I saw the American ones, holy crap. I was like, it was like all my dreams come true. Like the whole live action aspect. Okay, there was an advert in one of the like comics way back, and it had I think it was for a computer game. I think it was for like the G.I. Joe computer game, and it was basically a full page of just Cobra Commander, but like almost like, you know, in cosplay, coming through the jungle. And I remember seeing that, and my first thought was, oh my god, they're doing a live action TV show or movie. That was, you know, the kind of dumb stuff that ran through my head. So when I saw those commercials, it was like, this is what I want. You know, I want this. This is I need to see this live action stuff. And I thought they were amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch over. For people who don't know, the Collectors Club finally put up their image gallery. Cool. You know, I don't know if we all know I'm very tech savvy on this. So tell me if you're seeing the picture of the three old guys.
Yay!
Three old guys?
I can see three old guys. It's Mike, Rick, and Chris. No, I'm kidding.
This is Thursday night. This is the highlight of the whole show right here.
Laughters.
Is just that hat alone misspelled. How the hell do you I mean, this goes back to some of the quality control issues where you're like, hey, how did you manage to print up X amount of hundreds of hats, and you realize you forgot the H in them? That was Thursday.
That was pretty funny.
This chick right here, I really thought she was selling cookies, but apparently she was a cosplayer.
Yeah, and that's Colleen Nedrow. That's Bill Nedrow's wife.
Yeah, so I really thought she was selling cookies. She was, and I didn't know she was there for the weekend. I thought she was someone panhandling cookies, is what I thought.
Actually, Colleen's lovely. She's really nice.
Yeah, we actually talked to her for a little bit on the live show. Let's see that. That was pretty much just the exclusives. I know there's a picture of Rick and his wife here somewhere.
I see it. Left.
Yeah.
There you go.
And of course, I'm sitting over here on this side, and no one took my picture at all.
He's not important. We'll skip him. He's that Tiger Force guy.
I was very hurt by that. And then there were some good pictures. So if you're looking look at the images, you know, there's a lot of images of what all happened. Oh yeah, there's this snoundering guy who likes to sneak into people's bedrooms in the middle of the night.
Ray Childs.
Yeah, great person.
What a horrible man. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
That is the nicest guy you'll ever meet, pretty much.
Oh, really? He was one of the first people I met in line at last JoeCon, and I actually got some Yoo-hoos on the way home because he always had Yoo-hoos in his cooler, and I'm like, man, why do I want a Yoo-hoo right now? And I'm like, that's his fault. Yeah, he's a nice guy. Yeah,
he really is. He did a lot of hydrating through the weekend, whether it was beer or sodas. Now, these guys here, I don't even know where to start with all these chuckles.
It's amazing.
There was like 6, 7 of them?
Yeah, it's like Gil and Steve DePala. There's tons of guys in that crew. They're all really fun as well. In fact, we beat them at the last quiz last year, which I'm just going to throw out there.
Yeah, I remember that, y'all. Wasn't it just 2 groups in it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a 50-50 and we won it, so
yeah. I hate to bring up the sore subject, but it was when we were going to briefly talk about which would be the the parachute drop, which I don't think there are any pictures whatsoever of that listed here at all, and probably for good reason. Chris, you were on the roof with me, weren't you?
I was, yeah.
That's right. We were on the roof.
Yeah, that's a great child story. So he basically ran over to me and on the floor and was like, Chris, we need you to do a parachute drop. Or can you do it? And I was like, okay, sure, that sounds cool. Went up there, realized that he'd sacrificed his place for me to do it. Like that's the kind of guy he is. So I didn't realize that. I'd have told him bugger off if he'd have. I said, no, I'm not taking your place. And then I did anyway. And it was a lot of fun up on top. But apparently, and I didn't really see what was going on because I was I was trying to concentrate on launching my parachute guys as far as I possibly could. Yeah. And what I ended up doing was throwing the first one directly up and really far. But it deployed and came back into the car park. So I was like, oh, brilliant. But there was some all sorts of horrible stuff going on down on the floor, which I heard about afterwards. And it was a long time afterwards that I heard about it. And I was really surprised because why would you do that? Like, why? Okay, like, even if the club don't say kids first or whatever, I would just be like, let them go first anyway. Like just let them have let the kids run around and grab some stuff and then go in calmly. I mean, these are what, $35 action figures, right? What is the point? Even if you got like 5 of them, is it worth decimating a child? Is it worth taking or making a kid just feel a bit rubbish? Is it worth making a kid feel a bit rubbish to grab 5 of those figures? I don't think so, personally, unless that person is fighting for life and needs to sell it to feed his family or her family. Like, I just don't understand it. And it was just to hear that, it was alien to me. I was like, that's not how it should operate. But, that's what happened, unfortunately.
Oh, wait, here's one of my favorite pictures. Chris in the fetal position.
Oh, fetal position shot, yeah.
Ooh, I think I got a few pictures on my phone over there of this too. Yeah. I think Mike and I were what, 10? We were 10 feet from that.
Yeah, we were directly across from him.
Yeah.
Before I could say anything, and I had the phone in my hand, there's this madman over there just losing his shit. I'm like, oh my god, someone's a bigger Force fan than I am.
I know. My wife was like, who is that grown man? And I'm like, I think that's full force over there.
He was going full crazy.
It was good. I like it because I think more people should be as passionate and just out there positively, like you have.
Call this positive right here in the position.
Thank you. Rick.
It is. It's being so into the hobby that you don't care. You literally are in fetal position. I love it.
It was honestly one of those moments. Because so it kind of built up a little bit, that, because obviously it was the last panel. It was a little bit emotion anyway. I kind of had a feeling we were going to be getting something. So I was interested to kind of because we've been trying to fill in the gaps, and I know Gil Tucker had been posting stuff on your page, Mike, as well, hadn't he, about what the Sonic Fighters would be cool if we had this and so on and so forth. So I was really down for Sonic Fighters because I thought they were all, easy things to do. So as they were coming up, I was like, that's cool. That's awesome. I really like those. Great. John was in front of me with his Tiger Force Hit and Run t-shirt, which I made for him. And he kind of turned to me and he said, just wait. And I was like, oh, and I knew what he was getting at. I knew what was coming. It was like the most obvious thing at that point, because it's like, I'm not going to see the Baron Ironblood come up. I'm not going to see the Kraken appear. I'm not going to see that. What I knew was going to happen was those Tiger Force figures coming. So I was just like this. I was just like, oh, it's coming. And then boom, there's Hit and Run. And I kind of lost it. And then I black out at that point. And I was still really hyper. And then the next one came out, and and it just kept escalating, where I was fucking Brian and
when the second one came and he started going crazy, I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, oh, you just wait, boy, just wait. Just wait.
Yeah. So it was just one of those things where a lot of emotion was kind of pouring out, genuine emotion. Like I wasn't doing it as a
Yeah.
a publicity stunt or something like
Right.
that could even be a thing in the G.I. Joe community. It was really, honestly, just I was really excited, and I was also comfortable around everyone. I feel like I've been going since Dallas. I've known a lot of the guys, a lot of the people that go online and so on and so forth. I feel like I've it's weird how you make these like friendships like that, and it's a weird thing because this camaraderie is so strong, and all of a sudden I'm just surrounded by people that I love. These things are coming out, and I'm like,
yeah,
what? And it's just I just lost it. Oh, there's a picture. But that's a beauty. That was a fun night as well, Mike.
I got so hammered that night.
I know.
I couldn't see straight.
At one point, you were trying to literally drag me out of the place to eat. Let's go eat. Let's go eat. Let's go eat. And I'm like, I'm all right. I had food. But yeah, that's what happens when you deal with drunk people.
It was fun because they ended up making a pyramid of beer cans behind me.
Yeah.
And it got almost to the top, and then it completely fell over. But that was one thing I wanted to say. I've been going to JoeCon since Dallas as well.
Yeah.
And that literally was, I think, the best time to hang out with people because the lobby allowed you to have basically a frat party every single night.
Yeah. It was a really nice bar layout, open, airy, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't let you drink in the convention center, but hotel lobby didn't care what you did.
Rick, what were your standouts from that final 12, by the way, mate?
Oh man. Honestly, like Ninja, I'm a big Zartan fan. So when they showed Ninja Force Zartan with the bike, I was already in. I'm like, yes. I was just like, yes, that's exactly what I was.
Cool use of the retaliation troop ahead as well, I thought.
Yes. Yeah, I'm excited about that one and the Tiger Force stuff. I like Tiger Force. Fred's the low man down, Mike. Fred's like the only one that isn't into the Tiger Force in a big way.
You tell you what, everybody was ripping Fred that weekend. They're like, what do you got against Tiger Force? What do you got against Tiger Force? Even that 11-year-old kid ripped into him. That was something else.
Are we skipping around? Can I bring up something before I forget it? So early on, what was it? It was either Thursday or Friday. I had heard from the G.I. Joe Bird guys or Cujo about Word Burglar. And at some point, I had made the conscious decision, I'm going to go try to do that. And I told my wife, and she's like, "It's what now? What is a rap show?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "No, it sounds really cool. Let's go do it." And did you do it, Chris? I can't remember.
Unfortunately not. I got the hideous migraine. But anyway, yeah, carry on.
So Mike and I piled into a car with some buddies of ours, and
like a clown car.
We were cramped in there. But like, I just wanted to say, like, that show was fantastic. Yeah. It was so much fun. It was so impromptu. Like, let's go see this guy. I didn't know who Word Burglar is until Cujo had started posting about it, and I looked it up and
You've never heard it before. Have you not heard Welcome to
I had never heard any of it. I just want to tell you right now, I've listened to the Welcome to Cobra Island that CD. I've got the digital version and the CD in my car, and I think I've listened to it probably 300 times now.
What?
So I'm like, I am like obsessed with it. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out before I forget. That was something that we did that was like, wasn't officially part of JoeCon, but it was, and it was a cool experience. So.
Sean is a great guy. I love him so much. He's such an open kind of dude to chat to as well, and like approachable and great and very talented. So yeah, love him. And
even when Rick does mention how we were crammed in that car, it was literally an Impala. Rick's on one side, his wife's in the middle, and I'm on the other end. And it was literally like a clown car, man.
We were cramped.
It was great. But I want to go through each of the pictures. This here was this is what some people were thinking we were going to get the Night Stalkers at the con. Yeah, but we didn't. But it's an easy repaint for the club. Yeah, so we'll be getting this as part of not part of the final 12, but part of a pre-package, I guess, 3-pack.
The more the merrier for me. As much as they can pull out, I'll if they can pull even more out that they haven't shown us in that final reveal.
Right, yeah. So this here will go with your Cobra Night Stalker's officer that we got the last FSS.
Cool.
Which will have the 3 multiple heads. Not a redhead, or is that? Yeah, it's brunette, African American, and blonde. So
cool.
Then we'll just. This is the way the pictures came up. These are the pictures that Rick had posted on Instagram. The Tunnel Rat is exactly the same one you got from the what is it? Sonic Force? Is that what it's called?
Sonic Fighters.
Sonic Fire's Tunnel Rat. The only difference is that you don't get the Battle Force 2000 weapon. But it's a strict repaint. Everything else is identical to what he had.
Look at his bandana; it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's the wild colors on these things that blow my mind.
Oh, I love him. I'm not afraid to say it.
That's okay. Now, knowing that we have this, now I'm kind of more intrigued in letting go of my Blizzard from FSS since I'll have a Tiger Force Blizzard to go with it.
Oh, that's a beauty.
And then it has it's orange or yellowish, I guess, but then it has a little bit of Tiger Force right here.
Yeah, it is just a little bit, right?
Just a little bit. So again,
the yellow snow blizzard that I've heard so many.
So this one and Tunnel Rat, to my understanding, we're going to be, I think, packaged together.
That sounds right. Yeah.
And then this one here, which I think is a beautiful work of art.
Boom.
Yes.
The hit and run turned out great.
Well. He loves hit and run.
Yeah, hit and run.
They were like, what about the backpack? They're like, let's tiger it up. Let's do it.
Yeah, this one here turned out. I'm not familiar with all the builds. That's the reason we were going to have John on, but I'm sure we'll have John on again to talk about, or he might pop in a few minutes and we'll talk about it then. But and then I think he's being this one here. I like the Psych Out. So Psych Out and I think Hit and Run are together. And that will finish off the European Tiger Force set.
Woo!
So we will actually finish one sub team.
Road Pig.
Road Pig.
Get in.
And he, someone was telling me this is just a straight recolor of another version that was out. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
The 7-pack, right?
That's what I thought it was. Yeah, 7-pack.
I've just realised there. Someone mentioned it the other day to me. They said I'm a bit upset because he's not liking it. He doesn't have his like orange tan on his skin like the original figure does. I think it's just a regular skin color from the previous Road Pig, which is cool and all. But I would have loved to have seen them go all out and give him like a really.
And let's see. And then he's going to be teamed up with Falcon.
Amazing.
If I remember correctly now.
Amazing. I just love the decos. I love the fact he looks like he's wearing a giant onesie with a belt.
Well, when I look at him, the first thing that pops in my mind is those 3D pictures you used to stare at back in the 90s.
Yeah, the magic eye.
Yes, yeah.
That's what it feels like you're looking like. Am I supposed to be seeing something else here?
I can see.
I love that.
His pants.
The fact that he has the onesie on and he's like, you know what I should do in my onesie? Go for a helicopter ride.
Yes.
I love it.
None of that chilling out watching Netflix.
No.
Now here's where I kind of thought it was be a little bit different. Where we did get the Cobra Viper, which looks great, by the way, but then it comes with Sonic Dodger. I was thinking because of the weapon we got with Blood, we were going to get a Blood go with Dodger.
Yeah.
You know, but then once you think about it, if you were to ask the club, they're probably going to say the same thing they said about Hardball. You're getting 2-in-1 with your Hardball. So you got the Sonic Fighter weapon with Blood to make him a Sonic Fighter if you wanted to, I guess.
I suppose, yeah.
This is the way you can kind of look at it. That's why I was talking to someone earlier about that. How that's what I thought. I honestly thought we were going to get a Blood with that Dodger.
I thought we were going to get like Blood, Rock and Roll. There are other ones as well, aren't there, that I'm not thinking of. I know we got Lamprey and we got a few of the other guys like as well. But
right.
I kind of was hoping, and I'm not going to. This sounds like really bad. Like I'm not grateful of what we're actually getting, because actually by the end of this, we'll have quite a lot of product. Like it's a lot of cool stuff to have.
Right.
Even if some of it, I know people moan about repaints. I'm a sucker for repaints. I love repaints. Give me repaints all day. The club was designed for me, I think, and I think, but I would have loved it if they'd have gone all out with like a bagged set of Sonic Fighters. So if you imagine like the 15 figures with a couple of exclusive 2-packs and 3-packs, I'd have loved that just to kind of go check. But what they've actually done here is they've because there's another couple of pictures I don't think you've got to yet, Mike, which you might be getting to. We're finishing off the Slaughter's Marauders original deco team, aren't we? Minus Sarge, but we're also getting all of Tiger Force, right? Is there anyone left?
They're finishing up Ninja Force almost.
So there's I mean, they're ticking off quite a lot of they're ticking quite a lot of boxes effectively, which is
yeah.
I'm more than happy with. The more they can do as
better.
Focusing on one group is the better in a way.
Now the Cool of Doom, someone was telling me that this is supposed to be like, correct me if I'm wrong, the brother with
Cesspool?
No, the brother to the chick in the 13th set.
Oh, a Crimson Asp.
Yes. Is what I was told from my understanding. So yeah, they're using the cesspool head, which I actually really dig the cesspool head. I've really always enjoyed that. So this here, Coils of Doom, he will be coming with this one here, Black Spider. What is that name? I can't see it.
Rendezvous.
Yeah, it's basically a Joe Colton figure with the sci-fi head, a helicopter pack, or not sci-fi head, but the Joe Colton head with the sci-fi helmet.
Yeah,
and it looked like he's actually supporting the lamp-free gun as well. But this one here, it was supposed to be originally called Black Widow, but of course they can't use it because of copyrights with Marvel.
Yeah.
So this will be coming with the Cool of Doom. Then the last two, was Barbecue, which is my understanding a straight recolor from the 7-pack.
Looks right. Yep. And
then Low Light, which is another straight repack or color. But I mean, I'm sure that maybe the accessories are different. I'm not too sure, but this is good because now you are finishing off Slaughter Marauders within under a year.
Yeah,
which is really cool. You're finishing off Tiger Force. You're really finishing off the Night Force. Once we get the 13th figure, which we already know who it is because they pretty much spoiled that one for us. So, so we already know that we're going to finish off some of the sub teams. Of course, some people are not. Why didn't they finish off? Which one was it? No. Who was it? 12 October Guard.
Okay.
Why didn't they finish off October Guard? But probably too many redo sculpts on that one, to be honest with you.
We've got
the ones that they did do, man, they're fantastic. That's like one of the best sets they ever made.
Dying Grenadiers one back, yeah.
Oh my god, that set's beautiful.
It's unique, I think, as well, Rick, isn't it? It's got that thing of like, of it's not just G.I. Joe figures, if you know what I mean.
It's got like that a little bit of that war history feel to it, right? The Iron Grenadiers, especially something about and the October Guard as well with the truck. It just feels like it's a little bit G.I. Joe mixed with like a little bit of like just war history, like a mashup of.
Agreed.
Yeah. And then of course we already mentioned on this one here where you're actually getting the Joe Trooper head, which I think is very good. Someone was trying to tell me at JoeCon that it was the Smasher head. I'm like, no, that's not Smasher.
No, not if you use your eyes. If you use your eyes, you can tell it's not. Just guess by not looking at it, then yeah, I can see that being a problem.
So here's our banner we had outside our hotel room. We actually had it down here, all stood up and everything, but the neighbor down here called and complained, so we had to take it down.
That was me, Mike.
It was me.
Excuse me. There are some absolute scumbags next door. They're making a horrible noise. One of them looks like a giant kitty with his T-shirt on. I don't know.
Yeah, that was that was pretty. That was all we're going to. Mouse, shit house, mouse.
Have you broken it? Have you broken it, Mike?
I've done something. I don't know what I've done.
We'll fill the gap with talking about how good that October Guard set was, Rick. That specifically was one of my favorite sets. I was a massive fan though of the Night Force, the Tiger Force, the Mission Brazil, and that set. So like I kind of felt they were and the Eco Warriors. I was kind of like I was just really happy every year. I was like, my God, there's so many figures coming my way, and they're really cool sets and themes. Personally,
yeah. Did you guys pick up anything, you know, that went into your collection that you feel real good about, makes you feel like Christmas morning?
Yeah, actually, I've got it right here because you said that. So we're talking about that show, Mike, Ed Schumacher's Joe Fest, right? So
yeah, we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes.
well,
I want to step away just for a second.
No worries.
Are we still on screen share?
No, we're looking at your face.
Okay, good. That's what I want you to see.
So, I got. Hang on, I don't know why he's in the baggie. I'm so ridiculous. So they did a couple of exclusives at Joe Fest, and I managed to get this off Aaron at Roman Collectibles. He picked up the you know, the really cool SAS Panther with Driver, and it's just, I mean, I've got many Panthers now, being kind of, you know, in the Action Force. Well, I used to be in the Action Force homeland. But it's just gorgeous. I love it, and the more of these kind of things I can pick up, the better. And I was, when I saw Joe Fest, they kept putting up a new thing every day of like, and we're gonna have these, and we're gonna have these, and we're gonna have these. And I was like, I really need all of that stuff, including that Zartan figure, which was a beauty, the Cold Slither one. And thankfully, Aaron was able to get me a few bits and pieces, including that and the Driver. So I was like, thank you, Aaron at Roman Collectibles.
Very nice.
Yeah, that was cool. But that's all I was going to say. That is a Christmas morning thing for me right there, Rick. What about yourself? What did you pick up?
Honestly, everything I picked up is Christmas morning. Like I've been really, you know, I collect a lot of stuff. If you ever watch any of our shows, I collect a lot, like 1/6 stuff, Star Wars.
I can see it in the background. Ghostbusters,
Ghostbusters, a lot of 1/6 stuff, but I do Transformers. And, you know, Mike got me back heavy. I was already had a lot of Joe stuff, and I was already a big Joe fan, read the comic, had some toys, but Mike got me back in like heavily. But the stuff that I haven't owned before, the stuff that I haven't like spent time with or experienced, like the Desert Fox, my toy room right now is tore up. You can't see what I'm seeing. There's like, you can barely walk in here right now. But like the Desert Fox, I didn't buy a whole lot of boxed, like mint inbox, never open stuff. But I did buy a Desert Fox. So I could put it together, and I got a Locust pretty cheap. That I've never spent time with that, but I finally got a Sky Striker, which is really strange because obviously that's like the core vehicle from Sunbow and the comics.
330 times by the club as well recently, hasn't it? And
yeah, and I didn't have an original one complete. I had like kind of a beater one, which is fine. It's cool, but I wanted one with both chutes. You know, and both shoots in decent condition. And but the thing about JoeCon for me is funny because I'll come home and like I was prepared for some of it, but when you buy a lot of vintage figures, I came home and I had ordered stands for the figures, O-rings, because a lot of the stuff you got to replace the O-rings after you get it. It's just the way it is. And then I found myself on Toy Hacks because I bought a bunch of Tiger Force loose vehicles.
Good man.
I'm never I gotta have my Tiger Force logos all perfect. That's just me. I'm, you know, anal retentive like that. But so I came back and ordered like 5 sets of stickers from Toy Hacks. It's like all these little things that you have to do once you get the stuff. You got to get more stuff.
For it.
I think the name of the company is Flux Dimensions.
Okay.
And they do acrylic stands for all of not all, but like 30 of the Joe vehicles, like the Condor, the Dragonfly, the Sky Striker. So I came home and I ordered stands so I could put them in landing poses and stuff like that. I have a bunch of them, but I didn't have a Sky Striker one. And then the funny thing is, on the way back from JoeCon, I'm still ordering stuff. So I ordered a Tiger Rat on the way home between there and Virginia. I ordered a Tiger Rat. It just came. I haven't even opened it. The box is sitting here, and I'm like, if I didn't make a lot of noise, I'd probably be messing with it.
Now I just anyway, you turn this into an unboxing video, Mike.
So yeah, I had a great time.
Awesome.
I love coming home and having like new stuff in my collection too.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about the people. We talked about that. I just wanted to talk about the toys for a second.
Totally, man. I agree with that. I have talking to the Sky Striker. One of my favorite pieces I have is an Action Force Sky Striker, but not the Palatoy one, the Hasbro branded one. So it's like effectively the G.I. Joe Sky Striker, but Action Force instead. And I just love those. I love, even though it's a very minor difference. What I find is with a lot of the artwork as well, they change a lot of elements of it, little elements all over the artwork too.
Yeah.
And some of that can be fascinating. Like that, you know, I sound really boring now, but
no, it's interesting.
Yeah, totally.
The ones that get me the most is like the ones that you know, one will have a version where they have a gun, and then the other one there's no gun. That's really interesting, especially in the world that we live in now, and how that might work versus then and now. You know,
that was pretty. I mean, the Tiger Force, European Tiger Force figures had a lot to do with that as well, because you had, you know, you've got the Outback figure. In fact, the Outback, he's got his gun because it was before they started messing around with it. Outback and I think Psych Out came out first, and then the following year we got the rest of them, like that. The rest of that team lineup that we saw revealed in the final panel. And each one of those, that's where the differences kick in. And some of the art's gorgeous, but it's like the weird thing is you've got Blizzard not holding on to anything. Although what I realized is he's holding on to the butt of his gun. He's holding on to his gun in a way that's just like in his left hand, but it's behind the bubble. So he just looks like he's kind of, you know, no ski poles, just going. Like got two, like he's got a torch on his sorry, a flashlight on his backpack. I say torch, and because flashlight sounds too much like another word that I'm not going to say on there. And he's got his Cobra flash. No, he's got his other flashlight, like where his gun would have been in the original. Its gun is standing behind him, resting against the tunnel wall, and it's things like that that I just absolutely like love looking at and studying and going, oh my god. And the names, I mean, the names and the birthplaces, they just brutalize in the UK. And when we got an Action Force Outback, which was from Scotland, like Stirling, Scotland was where he's from, I think. And then the Tiger Force version, he's from Big Piney, Wyoming again, like as in he's the American birthplace. And you're like, huh? And then, you know, that happens so much with it, especially with the Tiger Force figures. You get all of these funny things happen. And one of the most incredible things that I've found is the most hideous spelling error in Frostbite's card. Go and look at Frostbite's card on the European exclusive or the European release of that figure, because it is hideous. What they did is they've made a typo and they've put it in the wrong place, and it just completely throws the sentence all over the place. It's like something Mike would have written.
That's what I was just going to say. So much than I did.
I think we were all thinking that for a second there.
That's why Fred does all the promo stuff, because I can't spell for shit.
I love how you put my name out there, Mike.
I didn't catch. I retweeted it and didn't catch it. I forget who caught it. Somebody. But when he caught it and he sent it to me, he put the McLovin character from Superbad or whatever. Oh my god! I literally choked on my spit. I was laughing so out of control. And when I showed my wife, I'm like, "You got to come see this." And she was sitting on the sofa. She couldn't. She laughed for like 10 minutes, Mike. At least.
It don't surprise me one bit.
It wasn't one of those things where I looked at it and went, "Oh god damn it, Mike!" I looked at it and I was in tears. Honestly, I thought if ever there was like there wasn't a more appropriate typo for me ever than McLeod.
McLeod. Your wife were like, "How's he know what your nickname is?"
Oh.
What are you telling him? Huh? McLeod?
Honey, how does he know this? No, that's that didn't happen. But no, it should have done now. That's amazing.
Here's one thing we were going to talk about. So can we officially, no, I'm not going to say officially, but I mean, can we kind of say that maybe Joe Fest is kind of going to slip in the shoes of JoeCon as much as they are pushing? Well, because, you know, Ed was there, who I think is the main guy for Joe Fest, and he was pushing it really hard with a lot of people. So, I mean, you know, they went from their first event that was like completely elbows and assholes in there to where they're at a new venue already after 1 year. So, I mean,
had like 1,100 people turn up. I mean, that's better than some previous JoeCons, which is pretty impressive. So I think,
yeah, it is.
I think that it's definitely something that I was upset I couldn't make it this year, mainly because we had other things kind of happening around the same time. But I kind of thought, you know, it felt like a show. I mean, we did a news burst about it, so it was definitely on my radar and something I wanted to kind of really experience. And everything I've heard from that show is positive. Like the, you know, huge amount of dealers, really cool exclusives from lots of different people. It wasn't just like show exclusives. I mean, it's exclusives for the people that are attending and stuff. And you know, just amazing things like that. And now, like, yeah, he's looking to get quite a lot of people that I probably shouldn't say anything because I know that I know a few things that are going to be happening, but at the same time, that's for him to reveal. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I think we're both on the same page. Shh,
yeah.
Be quiet. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, from what I understood, he's looking to get more space again already. I think they had already sold out of their vendor spots. I thought. Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, and I think in that area where he's at, they haven't had a convention in quite some time. So this actually helps out for not only the Joe community, but the community of the area that don't have to travel as far or go to the bigger cities.
Yeah.
You know, like Atlanta or, gosh, whatever else is around. I mean, there's Atlanta and then maybe some big cities in South Carolina to where it's within reasonable driving distance. So it's something I kind of want to check out as well.
I think it's the same distance for me. I want to say it's like around 9 hours. I need to look at it again. I looked earlier this summer.
I know
I mentioned it to Eric already. I'm going to try to do it. I might even bring he'll be 6, so I might even bring him along this next time.
I think, let me see if I can find it on here real quick.
I think what I found quite funny actually with the fact you kind of go like, oh, that's only 6 hours away now. When I lived in the UK, like 6 hours would get you on the other side of the island. A 9-hour journey is like from almost like London to Inverness. Like it's ridiculous. Like you can cover a lot of our country in 9 hours. So and like Scotland, which is a separate country. But like you can that's what blows my mind about this country. That like I moved here like in, was it like February of 14? So it's been a very weird culture shock for me. Obviously, I got married to Kate and moved out here, and now we're kind of right in the middle of the United States of America, and that's a culture shock in itself. But I mean, this whole thing of like driving, you know, 9 hours to get somewhere, and it being like that's okay, that we can do that. 9 hours. We drove to Disney, and that was 2 days split up at like 11 and 10. I think we did it in like 21 hours or something like that. We did Vegas as well. We road trip Vegas, which was killer. But again, like you kind of do it and you think, yeah, that was easy. Like that's doable. Like you can't do that in the UK. Like a long trip. It took me a while to get used to that. A long trip is like an hour, 2 hours. You know, you're kind of done.
Oh, wow!
And it's nuts.
Okay, now I should have the Joe Fest pulled up. The event is that y'all see?
Awesome.
Okay, yeah. Didn't screw that up. This is our second annual convention. It is June 22nd next year, with over 9,000 square feet of military toys, comics, cosplay, and artists. Which, if I remember some of the videos I saw, they had some of the dealers outside the building.
Yeah.
Set up. So I mean, they were not expecting what they did have.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a Robert Atkins, Tom. I don't know what that name is. I'll murder it.
Is it Feister?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And Brian Spear. I think we had him on the show about a month ago.
Shearer.
Yeah, I think he just recently did a Kickstarter.
Brian Shearer is awesome. I love him to death.
All right. Plans on having the finest Southern Command Garrison, Joe Colton cosplay, Revenge City cosplay, Maggie Madness cosplay, and Mary Mercenary cosplays. And we have a lot of cosplay organizations guests there as well. We'll have Roman Collectibles, Marauders. We'll be back in. So I guess the Marauders were set up there like they were a Joe Con.
Yeah.
So apparently, according to this, he's still taking in everything, information, taking in dealers. According to this, more guests to be announced.
I'm not sure if the full force will be there. I'm not sure if that's of interest to anybody.
Probably not, just like we're not in interest to nobody else.
And Kate McLeod cosplay, she'll be there as well. She'll be killing it with new cosplays.
But here's the great thing about it is that they're planning on announcing more, and they plan on having show exclusives, which we don't know what those are either.
Cool.
But general admission, just $5. I mean, I do a convention here in Arkansas, and I charge $10 to get in.
Yeah.
So with him having a second year show, I mean, that's pretty good, I think. $5 is a good. See anyone talking about it. So I mean,
that's awesome. That's great. I mean, it kind of beats 600 and whatever it was for.
Don't get me started, man.
Yeah.
That was just insane on the price on all that. But so there's that show, and then they will be. I'm assuming they'll be announcing some stuff here soon. I would hope. But there are some other conventions that are Joe themed. There's CoilCon.
CoilCon, yeah.
That's in Ohio, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm doing a panel at CoilCon, Mike, which you'll enjoy.
Oh, are you really?
I am, yeah.
What's it about?
It's about Action Force, and
you know what? You're right. I remember that's right. Never mind. We talked about this.
Yeah, you were drunk at the time, so it's fine.
I'll probably tipsy.
Yeah, CoilCon's amazing. Assembly Required. That's an amazing show. Like that is one of the best in terms of like it's like a smaller scale, but the quality is just so high. Like you get like some amazing, beautiful work from Brian Sauer, who does like a lot of the print work there. I've got to shout out Travis Weber, Steve Kelting, Ben Conway. There are more. I apologize if I haven't named everybody, but they do such an amazing job at that show. It's wonderful. Finest go there. Roma Collectibles go there. Joe Customs go there. It's Brian Kaufman, Hypno Shield, Troy McKee. Loads of people are at that show, and it's a really fun show. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, there are loads. Toylanta. There's loads in the West Coast that I forget now. Do you know the West Coast ones, guys?
Oh, there's Evan Foster does one out there. Give me a second, I'll look it up.
I had a
Southern Cal.
I had a poster with all this information on it, and I can't find where it is now, from James Kavanagh. It's a brilliant poster. Oh, found it. Okay, so I'll be able to give you a visual of all of the amazing shows around the United States of America. So,
where was that at? You have a poster of that?
Yeah, this is James Cav put it together as like a little show kind of exclusive. Live the adventure, and you get to, if you go to all of the shows, you get a thing. I don't know what the exact information is. I could read it, but that would take time. And then you can kind of do it like a kids thing, where like back in the day where you get like a fan club type scenario. But you've got Assembly Required, you've got SoCal, Joe's Show and Toy Convention, the FWGI Joe, an action figure show, Kentuckiana, which is actually soon. It's like next month, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Toylanta, CoilCon, HasCon, which again, like I did joke about it a second ago, but it was one of the best conventions I've ever been to.
So you did go to HasCon?
Yeah, honestly, it was unbelievable. It helped that everyone there, it's almost like a mini Joe-Con, because you kind of, it's more intimate because you get more time with people, because it's not everyone in the Joe community, it's just a small section of them. But at the same time, it was just, the Legends panels, the dinner, the exclusives were gorgeous. You got these like lithographs of, all the artwork in this gorgeous kind of big, like kind of binder folder type thing. There were the animation cells are really cool. Like everyone got like tons of animation cells from like the Deep cartoon, which I know isn't the best cartoon in the universe. I actually watched it recently, and it's hard work. But I don't need to tell you that. You all know that. Yeah, and Joe Fest, a New Jersey Collectors Club convention as well. So yeah,
right. I knew about that. I know Evans is he wants me to come out to like San Diego to his show, but it's a one-dayer, I guess. It's some of the issues that a lot of these shows are one-day conventions.
Yeah.
Which, of course, like I said, I do a local convention as well. In this past year, or May, was our show, and having our Sunday declined really big. We had like less than 150 people show up on a Sunday. So even for next year's show, I pushed it back to not even doing a Sunday show. I'm doing strictly. If I can still bring in 12 to 1,500 people on a Saturday and still pay the same amount, I might as well just do a Saturday show and be done with it. It makes it cheaper on the dealers as well for the booths.
I noticed that you had your own show, Mike. I thought that was really, really, really awesome. Like that's
you're not far away. You need to come down next year.
Oh, totally, absolutely. Try and keep me away.
Do I try to keep you away?
You might have to try and keep me away. You might have to get extra security on hand.
But yeah, like I said, I do a small one. It was my 10th year this year doing it.
Congratulations!
But I mean, of course, I say this all the time. But when I started doing it, I was the only one in Arkansas doing it, and now everybody and their brother wants to do a convention in Arkansas, which is surprising. But so yeah, if it's like Pete's RoboCon, they do 2 days 1 year, but if you do like a Friday evening kind of a thing, that kind of makes up for it. So if you do something Friday night, like a big get together, a dinner, or hang out at the bar kind of thing, or a movie preview, then you have your Saturday thing, then kind of hang out half the day Sunday. Because if I go to Joe Fest, I'm going to have to fly. It's like a 10-hour drive. I'm not going to want to drive it.
That's easy.
That 10 hours when I already drove that long drive already.
That's easy, mate. I can do 10 hours now. It's nothing.
Oh, yeah, because you drove all the way over. Hey, but did you run out of gas?
I drove.
Did you run out of gas on your trip?
I drove from the UK in a Warthog. That's how I got here.
No, when I was coming back, when you come north of, or you're coming south from Nashville, there's like this little loop that goes underneath Nashville.
Yeah.
And I went that loop, it was like 50-something miles. And I was thinking, okay, there's got to be a gas station somewhere along there, so I'll get a gas on the way. No, now one damn gas station for 55 miles. And I had like 48 miles in my gas tank, and I ran out. And
but I thought, oh, that is such a Mike thing to do.
Anyways, and I called my wife, and I'm like, hey, do we got roadside assistance of some sort? She says, in your car, no. In my car, yes.
Oh, no.
So here I am in the middle of the interstate. She says, call 911. They'll bring a cop out. A cop will come out and help you. Cop came out, picked me up, took me down to the gas station, bought a $17 gas can to get $2.45 of gas in it. So,
well, the good thing is you had money left after JoeCon, so silver lining.
Yeah, I didn't spend so much on JoeCon as much as I wanted to. I heard y'all talk about what you got. I didn't get but just a handful of things. Of course, I got the exclusives. I picked up the rest of Carson's books I needed. The first thing I really major purchased on Toyz was actually Sunday morning. I went straight to Chris Neal's booth, and because he ran sales last year, I'm like, hey, is there going to be a sale today, this morning? And she went to go ask him. He said, yeah, I'm doing 30% off. And I'm like, oh, he's off modern. And I'm like, is that 30% off all modern, even your case stuff? And he said, yes. Like, give me that dial tone right there. And I picked up the club dial tone, which I've been trying forever to get it. With the discount, I only paid $112 for it.
Not bad.
Which is usually goes for like $200, but he had it for $160, and then I got the 30% off of that. Sweet.
Yeah, that's a hell of a figure. I love that one.
And then I just picked up a Python Viper or Trooper from the last set, the 11 set, and then I picked up some custom parts from John for the hardball figure, of course. I just haven't decided whether I'm going to put the legs on it or not. I really wanted it for the head and the helmet, which made it look, I think, 10 times better than what it was.
What was your favorite set from all the years of going to JoeCons then, Mike?
The ones that I've gone to, which I started in 2010, which was, I always have to look at stuff when I talk about it. So I was 14. I'm sorry. I have to look. Tiger Force.
I was waiting for that. I'm like,
what were you thinking?
Surely it should automatically come out of your mouth. It should just be.
Yeah, I know. You caught me off guard, man.
Well, that Tiger Hawk, I suppose you should call it, was just the most beautiful, like surprises of all time. But we got that there was a hint prior to getting to JoeCon, and it was like the panel, wasn't it, that they showed of that particular part of the helicopter, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
we're getting a friggin' eagle hawk, but a tomahawk, but a tiger hawk. So I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. And lo and behold, that was one of the most wonderful like reveals when you got like Felino and you got Bazooka and the Sting and the Tiger Fish, and they just kept pouring out. And I'm like, this is, I mean, that was, I think that was the most I think you got for your money. There was so many vehicles, weren't there? Yeah.
I think we spent less money at that con on exclusives than we did this one. We had 0 vehicles.
Yeah, totally.
It was, I mean, getting the Tiger Force set, of course, you know, I've just had a thing for Tiger Force, you know, and Fred don't get it, but, you know, it was just.
But it's like we said at the top of the show, you know, we talked about how the Python Patrol, their outfits just make them feel like more of a unit. Tiger Force does that better than anything else. Yeah. And you got all the vehicles set out with that big group of figures. I don't think there's anything that feels like more of a team in my room upstairs. And that's the best looking team to me. For me.
I heard on the like in talks with a lot of people, including people like knowledgeable on the subject as well, like Pat Stewart and Bobby and a lot of people like kind of in and around at the time. Tiger Force seemed to be one of those things that was like a refresh, it was like a short-term refresh that they wanted to do leading into Christmas. Am I right in saying that? And I think something like, as in originally back in the day, and it weirdly became a kind of a big hit in a strange way, and so a little bit more was done, and it dragged on for a little bit longer than, and then it stopped obviously, and we got lots of different kind of they were coming at it at a different angle. But what I found really interesting was that it started as such almost like a marketing thing of like, well, we need a spike and we need to go into Christmas a little bit refreshed going into the new stuff in the new year. And I love the thought of that Tiger Force was that, and just caught it kind of almost like it found something in a lot of collectors, didn't it? It kind of caught like a spark was formed. I don't know. I can't even think of the metaphor right now. But it made people like go, oh, this is really cool. I want more of this. And lo and behold, we're still getting it now. The last friggin' reveal of the last of Joe-Con for Tiger Force. It's nuts.
This is really funny. I was switching over here, and I see a post from your wife for Joe-Con haul, and she had no G.I. Joes.
Yeah. She, I mean, Kate has got the most amazing.
I'm really digging that Back to the Future. Is that the Back to the Future book?
It's a game. It's like a oh God, what is it? Like a tabletop kind of game.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, but
I keep up with a lot of the Back to the Future comics.
Kate's got an amazing collection, like on her own. But she collects all sorts. She loves turtles, so she's got like a ton of turtles figures. She like in terms of G.I. Joe and Action Force, she likes collecting the very obscure, the very weird. So she loves Cobra La. She loves, Red Shadows. The Robo Skull's obviously a big thing. She loves this guy behind me. She loves, Skeletron. That was another costume that she only got a little. You only got a little taste of that, unfortunately, because she just wore the helmet in the lobby and ran around with it. But she just couldn't fit that into the. I mean, the schedule is crazy at Joe-Con. She just couldn't. She couldn't add a 5th and 6th. Cosplay that she planned. But yeah, she's a crazy collector in lots of different ways. But yeah.
So, any regrets from Joe-Con?
Yeah.
Where do we start?
I can think of a few in the lobby.
Let me tell you a quick story. I don't know if you were there that night. Me and Ed and a few other guys, it was Saturday night. We went down to the diner,
Yes.
And we got some cakes, and we were passing the cake around eating it. Of course, I'm the only one that got pancakes, but nobody wanted none of the pancakes. But anyways, they decided to get Gray a piece of cheesecake. It was strawberries. Big, huge piece of it had strawberry chunks on top of it. We get all the way back there, and they're giving it to him and everything. And they said, man, we got all the way up here, and we realized we didn't get you a fork. And we're like, damn. And it was almost, you couldn't have pictured it any better. Gray basically saying, here, hold my beer. He pulls out this Swiss Army pocket knife out. Yeah. Bullshit you not. It had a spoon, a knife, and a fork on it. He pulls the fork out and starts eating the cheesecake.
That does not surprise me. That guy's prepared for anything.
It was awesome. It was so awesome. And he told me, I didn't realize he lives down in Dallas, down in that area.
Yeah.
And he told me, he says, because he knew I was coming down to Dallas a lot because I've been going down there to John, go to different conventions and hanging out with John. And he was like, next time you come, you need to let me know so we can get together. And I was like, why? So you can climb on top of me in the middle of the night and scare me halfway to death?
That was the only regret you had with that, Mike, was not going full force with the whole.
Oh, he threw in a full force reference.
Hey-o!
No, it was fun. I can honestly say that I enjoyed every bit of JoeCon as I have in the past. I'll be honest with you, knowing that bar closed so early, was kind of a downer. But I mean, it's like the party was downstairs the whole entire time. It never went to that bar.
I felt so bad for people that worked at that hotel, but you know.
And they didn't care. I mean, we're all sitting there. Gray's walking on top of the couches. We're all drinking like fish and just loud as could be. And I'm like, wow, they have not called the riot squad on us yet.
There was a lot of it was in good fun, and it wasn't like it never got to the point other than the pyramid of beer cans, which I think as soon as they were knocked down, everyone kind of like ran away like school children, like they're going to get told off. But for the most part, it was all in good fun. Everyone was just enjoying themselves and chatting away and trying to get as much FaceTime as possible before the end of the world, which is a shame. But you know, there'll be other opportunities to hang out again, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And then and this was brought to my attention, and maybe you know that the G.I. Joe Club announced that I guess they dropped their subscription service amount down to where people can join.
Oh, right. I didn't know that.
Yeah, someone had told me. Let me look it up real quick.
I haven't really been paying attention the last couple of days. Everything's been a blur since JoeCon, and I can't believe it's been a week already. Well, more than a week. I just can't believe it's gone so fast. And now we're talking.
That's true.
Yeah, the third class membership, which is usually the cheapest one, I guess you can get, is $14.17.
Nice.
So if there's anyone who wants to get on top of those, the final 12 figures, go ahead and join the Collectors Club.
They're trolling
for less than $15.
They're trolling everyone in, aren't they? They're going, come on.
You know, they're towards the end of the Transformers Club. What was it, Rick? Like October or November, they finally said anybody can buy.
Yeah, something like that sounds right.
And they let anybody who wanted, you had to put the membership in your basket, which was $0, and you can get whatever. So I'm thinking they're going to do this to where if you want it that bad enough, you have to go ahead and purchase it.
Yeah.
In order to get it, or you'll be in the same boat you were when which one was it? The Heart Wrencher, where the pre-orders sold out on that one and everything, and then no one had it at all. So I mean, I lucked out on that one where one of our viewers, Eric, he does a lot of Photoshop reviews or photo reviews on them.
Yeah.
And he sold me his after the price had skyrocketed on it for cost. So I really lucked out on that one. So
awesome. Cool.
One reason. So I guess we'll go ahead and
actually, I'm going to answer your question, Mike. No regrets. Other than I wish I'd not slept at all at any time, so that I could get every possible single second of of FaceTime with as many people as possible. That's my only regret. Sleeping is my only regret.
I mean, I can honestly say, I mean, the only day I slept in was Saturday morning after that Friday night drinking binge I went on. But after that, I think I was getting just a few hours of sleep. You know, it was really kind of the peak hours where people were winding down, or there wasn't no one anywhere else where I can get some sleep.
I was leaving it to the last possible second to actually, make sure I got there in time for whatever the panel was, or in time for the queue I needed to get in, or the line I needed to get in. But for the most part, it was go to sleep at 3 in the morning, and then you're up again at like 7 or 8, and it's just after a while it takes you. But that last night, the Sunday night, a lot of people had gone home, but there was still a lot of people there, and that was one of my favorite times because you get to sit down and just talk, and or before you know it, it's like 2 in the morning, and you're like, yeah, we've got to go early tomorrow, so
yeah,
need some sleep. But it was good. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think we had it all. I mean, like I said, all the years, well, except for 16. I don't know if I told you this story, Chris, or you heard me talk about it, but we were in Colorado, and me and Jim were rooming together like we usually do, and we missed out on the hotel block at Embassy Suites. So we had to stay down the road at this Great Value or something. I can't remember the name of it now, but anyways, I think the first night, it was the first night, matter of fact, I woke up the next morning and I found a bed bug on me.
Oh.
So we got upgraded to a suite for free after I raised hell. And then
it wasn't a cobra bug then, because
no.
Imagine waking up with one of those on top of you.
Yeah. And let's see. And then what I thought was the coolest thing about the Embassy Suite was that they had that free beer and cheese basically like 2 hours, for each night.
Yeah.
Where they did like what was it? Kind of like a happy hour almost.
The cheap.
Is what it was. Huh?
Like a cheap happy hour, basically.
Yeah. I mean, the funny part was that they never asked to see your room key or anything. So me and Jim were sitting here, not even staying at the hotel, getting drunk and getting fed, and then we'd wander on down to our place in the middle of the night to go to sleep. So that was fun. Huh?
That bug that you found was one of those ones that line up as a like a red carpet for Serpentor when he gets this Cobra La. And
the scarabs.
And they have to stand on them. Yeah, that's. Is that where you got your hotel? Was it in Cobra La by any chance? That makes a lot of sense.
But 16 was a lot of fun for me. This one was a real lot of fun. Last year was okay. It was just so expensive, the hotel. But of course, we always.
The turnout was, like if you compare last year to like this year, as far as the numbers and the turnout, you can't even, it's like, you can't compare the two. This one was what, like 3 times more people? Probably. Had to be.
Yeah.
So, people knew it was the last one, or, they knew it was the last one, or thinking it was the last one, but it was, and a lot of people. And that was one thing on the dealer room floor. Did you not notice how big the 12-inch collectors came out this year in dealers? There was more than normal 12-inch dealers. It must have been 6 to 8 dealers of nothing but 12-inch collecting stuff.
Yeah.
Which I thought was good for the 12-inch collectors.
I listened to, I mentioned earlier, I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff. I was listening to one, I'm not going to name names, but not a Joe related cast, but some folks went, but they only came on Saturday. So what they spoke about was just their experience on Saturday. And I think one of the things that was said was the dealer room, there really wasn't a whole lot in there. I just want to backtrack for a second. We were first in line for the dealer room, our little group, first in line, and just Chris Neal's booth, at least for the first 30 minutes, he had like 99% of anything that you could want.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't long. And I myself carried one of those Ziploc bags that were like as big as a tub. Yeah. And I slowly unrolled it. I got in there, slowly unrolled it. And I was literally going like this to the figures, because I had done it last year. I'm like, hey, I'm going to buy all this. Just let me do this for 20 minutes and I'll be out of your hair.
Yeah.
So the dealer room, if you went on preview day Friday, it was chocked full of almost everything. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out. The dealer room I thought it was pretty awesome this year.
Oh, the dealer room was, really good because they had more in there than normal. There's been a couple of years where the dealer room was kind of sad.
Yeah.
But I think this year, you got to think it was cram-packed full of vendors this year, artists and cosplayers.
Mm-hmm.
It was just packed out. I think it was well-rounded amount of stuff in there for the G.I. Joe community.
Yeah. It was one of the first times I kind of had quite a modest haul in terms of like, just trawling in product, because I think I've got to the point now where I feel I'll see stuff and it will just be buying it again. Do you know what I mean? I'll just be getting it again, and I'm kind of out of that mindset a little bit now where I don't need, you know, I have a lot of stuff in multiples, and either it's because I want carded versions and boxed versions as well as loose versions, but I think going around there, I tend to just enjoy the dealer floor to see everybody who I, you know, like, you know, the Roma Collectibles guys and John Cremians and Mike were set up doing the CoilCon booth, and the Marauder guys, and you know, it was just really nice to kind of go around and see people and hang out. And when it wasn't really busy, obviously, you're not just going to go and start chatting to Aaron at Roden or what, getting absolutely destroyed by, you know, tons of people trying to buy things off him. Same with Chris Neal as well. That booth is always stunning. It always, you know, last year I picked up, I want to say it was last year, I picked up from him the Shadowloo headquarters, the Street Fighter 2 one, and the I think it was the movie version as well, and also like just a couple of ones that I've had my eye on for a while that I'd always just wait until I saw something perfect, and he had a few of them. So I feel like I did all my shopping in the first couple of years, you know, and then coming to this one, it was really just about, right, I want to do things. I want to do stuff for the podcast. I want to speak to everybody. I want to, you know, spend time with friends. It wasn't really, you know, I'd get the exclusive stuff out of the way and I'm happy, you know, like, yeah, but like I got that and I can focus then and just enjoy myself. Yeah.
Before we close too, I wanted to talk one other thing. Larry, you know, I met Larry for the first time last year, which was awesome. But when I came last year, it was mostly like, these are the stories I grew up with, where you signed my books that I used to carry in my backpack in high school, which is awesome. And he's usually pretty chill unless you get him going on like a certain topic. I found out if you hit something. So this year, I didn't bring any of the old stuff. I brought all the stuff from the stuff that came out between last JoeCon and this JoeCon, which is all the new Snake Eyes Don Marino stuff. And as soon as I broke the ice with him with that stuff, his face lit up and he had much more to say, which is really cool, because when someone's been doing that job for as long as he have, you can tell that he's really excited and reinvested in telling new Snake Eyes stories. I think that was awesome. That was a little teeny moment, but I didn't want to skip over it because, you know, we've all, you know, stood in the lines and talked to him numerous times. But I love it when you can get someone to like, just, you get that real spark that's still there after all this time. I think that's awesome.
Larry's a really good guy. Yeah, he. I mean, I've talked to him like in the past about Bucky O'Hare. He loves talking about Bucky O'Hare stuff, and obviously recently with the boss fight acquisition of the pack, you know, like I tend to find that he likes, you know, kind of discussing those kind of things too. So it's almost like you're right with the new stuff that's happening. It's fresher in his mind too. Like, I mean, if you're trying to engage with him about something he's talked about 50 or 60 times that day, about the Silent issue or about I don't know, just any one of the Marvel issues that, you know, he's done that. And you're right, like it'd be the same if someone came to you and started asking you about your first job, which would, for me, some sort of crap holiday camp in Munsley way back. That's gonna go over everyone's heads. When I was about 13 or 14, and or like a paperboy job that you did. I mean, like, I don't remember anything from that back then. I don't expect, just because you worked on it in a different capacity, in like a drawing or a writing sense, I don't remember stuff that I've done a week ago, let alone 30 years ago. So like, you're right. Get him fresh. Get him talking about something he's done recently, and
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you know, I met Brian in the bar with the Joburg guys. Who Brian's, you know, Hooded Cobra Commander, for those that don't know. And I'd never talked to him. Nicest guy. I knew he was super smart and deep in Joe, but super nice guy. You know, my wife talked to him, and she's like, "Wow, he's so nice." And Steve and Paul and Curtis. All the Joburg guys and Rob, they were all super nice and exactly like you figured they would be. These are guys that I watch their content all the time, and it's just like I said, it's really cool to, like, last year I met a few people. This year I met some new people, and I can't wait to go to Joe Fest. And probably I've had 3 people now sell me on HasCon and that Joe VIP experience that they did.
Do it.
Do it. Sounded awesome. Yeah. So it's not. I thought it would be kind of a really sad time, and it is the end of an era kind of thing. But like the fact that we're already talking about Joe Fest and possibly HasCon, if they can get their stuff together and keep improving it, right, Daryl? Hopefully, sounds good.
I'll tell Daryl tomorrow that you said that.
Yeah,
because we know he didn't watch my podcast.
I definitely filled his ear with all the things, the things that maybe he hadn't heard. Yeah. I told him I still like getting fiction. Like I like if you go to a con and you have an exclusive, put some fiction with it, like like we've been getting through the club and stuff like that. Make the experience like a new story, like a new Joe story. Yeah. He actually told me that he hadn't had a whole lot of people tell him that. I thought that was interesting because I feel like that's such a big part of what Fun Pub's always done is, and it's what all of us, without the fiction, would we have been that much into Joe? I doubt it. Exactly. So anyway, I thought that was important. So, if anybody speaks with Daryl or comes in contact with Daryl, tell him, what you want out of HasCon. The worst thing they can do is, say no.
Or kill you. Sure. The worst thing they could do is
right.
Get out for you. All right. Well, we're going to call it an episode there. I think we've vented off as much as we could for 2 hours. Do what?
We get like 9 and 10 hours into episodes. What's wrong with you guys?
Oh Lord, I don't know how y'all do that many hours. Y'all's were so many, and then you cut them off and pick back up. Isn't that how it goes?
Oh, we do like multiple recordings, and then we start putting it together and editing it, and then I realize we shouldn't have done so much crap. I mean, we'll do like an intro. We'll do like the little segments that kind of don't really amount to just kind of amount to making the show up, and then we do a separate figure review, which is turning into a brand history because we do all these like lots of different relatable G.I. Joe kind of franchises, and then we do From the Vault where we talk about like really depthy stuff about something unproduced stuff, and again like we have show notes that kind of like pour loads of information in there too, and obviously having someone like Pat Stewart jump on our show in like the last 3 or 4 episodes, being part of Joe Declassified, man, you get some really awesome things from those guys. And that's another thing I should probably shout out as well. Joe Declassified had a booth there, and the Tune-Ups and the Man of War, which was like almost like a test shot. It was amazing. So yeah, I had to give a shout out to Joe Declassified. Those guys do some amazing work.
So yeah. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and jump off. We'll be back on in 2 weeks. Don't know what we're going to talk about. Hopefully Fred will have something figured out by then. So go ahead again and tell everyone where they can find you at, Chris, so they know where to find your podcast and all that.
Okay, so we are on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube. You can also get us on Facebook, The Full Force Podcast, on Twitter at The Full Force. You can follow me at Diagnostik80. That's DIAGNOSTIK 80. On pretty much everything. You can probably find me on Facebook, and I'll probably friend you depending on
what you look like.
I am all about the numbers mostly, but seriously, if I've met you and we've had a conversation and I like you, then you can friend me. Vice versa. I'm not just saying, oh, whatever. The same goes the same way. But also, at Diagnostik80 on Instagram and Twitter. Do it. Go, like us, comment on our stuff and get involved. We love it, and we'll be bringing loads of content out in the next couple of months. Also, thank you, Mike, for having me on. It's been an absolute lovely to meet you, Rick. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm so sorry we didn't get a chance to meet at Con, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh no, I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, we've talked about it at Joe Con. Was kind of like, we kind of need to keep our close-knit society together, keep us all together. And that's kind of what this was for, was the key, like you said yourself, you said best was like, even though we are different ways we do our own shows, but it's always good to have us come together and still talk about, it's kind of like we're not out to one up the next person. I'm not, at least.
We are. I'm going to be one up. I'm one up.
Look, It's like, screw it, I want to be better than you. But yeah, it's kind of like it's fun to have, do these things and to keep, and talk about Joe stuff, even though, we won't have much for too much longer. So yeah, it was great to have you on. We hope to have you on again some other time as well. Rick, tell me where they can find you at.
Yep, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Shattered Glass Jazz.
And y'all can find me here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter as Just Another G.I. Joe Show. Or if you got my phone number, you can call me, but I probably won't answer because I don't want to talk to you. So we'll see you all in 2 weeks. Hopefully we'll have Fred, J.E. on, or whoever else on will be on at the same time. But thanks for watching, and we appreciate it.